Let's go, Rider Nation.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. It's a feeling now. Get 'em high, get 'em low. 'Cause we're dealing now. Everybody's giving it all they got. 'Cause we're ready.
We are inching closer to the Grey Cup. Riders in Montreal on Sunday. Somebody who knows about that Riders Montreal rivalry a little bit. Don't want to get too much into that, obviously, but Canadian Football Hall of Famer, Plaza of Honor member, Grey Cup champion, and for a while, my mom's favorite player, Eddie
Oh,
Davis,
that's
joining me here. Eddie,
that's
how's things
awesome, man.
going?
Everything is going awesome, man. I cannot complain. I'm in Arizona right now. Just loving the weather down here.
Well, you'd be happy to know it was like a high of +5 today. It actually wasn't that bad in Regina. Not bad for middle of November, huh?
Yeah, you can't beat that. If it was +5 in Regina at that time, that's awesome.
um, you watched the West final.
Yeah.
Let's with what you saw with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. What did the last couple minutes? What was that like for you watching that way down in Arizona?
Honestly, I was hoping that they could go down there and get a score, and they just moved the ball really well at that time frame. But I mean, they got a veteran quarterback. I mean, he's been there before. He's cool and calm in those situations. He made perfect decisions, and like I don't know, it was just the right time. For any longtime vet or superstar, you make the plays when it's your time to make the play, and it's always you're calm and cool and collected when that pressure is rising, right?
So in that game, Corey Mace, the head coach, decided we're going to punt the ball back with a minute and a half left, putting a lot of trust in that defense. You're a defensive guy. What does that mean to a defensive guy to see your head coach saying, "I know you guys got this, 2-and-out, no problem"?
Honestly, that's respect. That's support. Like he knows his defense can go out there and make a play, and they did. They played awesome that whole game. I'm not gonna lie, like that first call when he made it, I was thinking to myself like, "Whoa, that's that's a gutsy call," but he did what he was supposed to do in the right situation, and that's what a good coach does, right? Good A good coach just listens to everybody that's around him, and he has to make when he has to make that tough decision, he makes the call and sticks with it, right? So and it worked out for them perfectly.
I see the more I think about it, the more I see a few parallels between this 2025 Rough Riders team and that 2007 Grey Cup team you were on, building up towards that Grey Cup championship. Obviously, you guys losing the West Final in 06, same with the Riders last year in Winnipeg, winning the next year and getting to the championship game. As a player, when do you know you really have something special there? Because you were on a few different Grey Cup winning teams.
Yeah. The funny thing, I think partly through the year, and it's like when you go out and you just have a real tough game, and you know that you might have lost the game, but you know that the other team got lucky, or something just failed. The chips fell their way during that game, and they don't want to see you again. And it's funny because I remember I want to say, was it '07? It might have been '07. Maybe it was, yeah, I think it was '07. And we went to Montreal and played, and they beat us pretty bad. They were kicking our butt in the first half, and then that second half we came back and got close to the win, but didn't get the win. And so after the game, I see guys in the locker room, everybody's walking around, heads are down, and that really fired me up because it pissed me off, right? There's no reason for your heads to be down because we came back and showed a very strong Montreal team that they don't want to see us anymore. They don't want to see us when it comes down to it again, right? And like I don't know, I talked to the whole team and told them as a man, like, stand up, man. Your head should be tall. Yeah, we didn't win this time, but we can go out here and win the next time. And so throughout that season, the rest of the year, we just had that fight and that grit in us, and we came back and things that just totally changed for us that year. It was awesome.
being a leader on that 2007 team, did you feel any extra pressure on yourself to try and deliver a Grey Cup win to the team and the fans of Saskatchewan?
Of course I did. Yeah. Like, I mean, the reason I came to Saskatchewan is to get a Grey Cup. I came there when in a time when nobody really wanted to go to Saskatchewan. And luckily, it just happened to be Roy Shivers who became the GM down there. And I had a long history with Roy already. I mean, he was my GM for the previous 6 years before that with Birmingham and Calgary. So it just made sense for me to go to Saskatchewan. Went there and helped put the foundation down for kind of what we laid. And then once Roy left and when Kent came in, I don't know, we felt like we had a really good team previous years. Like for me, I thought we had a really good shot to go and win the Grey Cup in 2004. And unfortunately, like it was a field goal. It just came down to the last second opportunity, and we kind of missed it. But in 2007, that was a long year because I got hurt during that year. And for me, I had a lot of time to kind of sit back and reflect. I ended up separating my shoulder. I missed 9 games that year. But during that time, I was able to work out, and I just became a coach on the field. And that team that we had was a lot of young guys in that team. Guys like James Johnson, I think John Chick was on that team, Mo Lloyd. I mean, for me, I'm thinking about the defense, right? And those guys, they had the talent, but I had to get that confidence level to build up in those guys. And over the year, I just kind of sat back and hopefully coached those guys up and just gave them more and more confidence. And then once I actually came back to that team, we were ready to go, man. We were ready to rock and roll. And I think we just knocked out win after win. And then once we got to the playoffs, that was it. Like we got hot at the right time, and we made everything happen. And really, for any championship team, it's all about being confident in what it is that you do, and knowing that it doesn't make a difference what this other team does. You can always come back and rebut that, and that's what we did in '07.
I'll never forget the West semifinal in '07. The very first play, Kerry Joseph hits DJ Flick for the touchdown to open things up. And that place, I was there in the stands. We went absolutely nuts. What was your take on that very first play, and how did you feel right after that?
Let's go. Let's go. Like that, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like guys had that confidence. And I think if you go out there, and especially if the offense does something like that on the very first play, that fires the defense up to go out there and get them the ball back so they can do it again, right? So like I was ready to go from that point on.
And then obviously in the Grey Cup, it's James Johnson having that big game with the 3 picks. You went up against Milt Stegall for years before that, and James got a couple of those interceptions on throws going to Milt Stegall. What did you say to him before the game to kind of get him ready for obviously the biggest game of his career?
So during that game, we played a lot of cover 3, meaning that it was a coverage where I was low playing against Milt, but I just have to bump him, and James would come over and cover over the top. And I just told James, I was like, look, man, don't worry about the guy that's on the outside. As soon as I hit Milt and leave him, go straight to him. And that's what he did. They thought Milt was open a lot of times, and he just came in and made a bunch of big plays. I mean, that was an awesome game. That was a really, really awesome game. But again, that's giving a guy some confidence, and he went out there and made some hell of a plays.
The 2025 Roughriders run a very much debated maybe here in Saskatchewan zone defense, where the middle of the field usually is left open, and there's a lot of room there, obviously with the big field in the CFL. What's the key to having a successful zone defense in the CFL?
The biggest thing is, I guess, smoke and mirrors, right? Like, I know a lot of fans may think that the middle of the field is open, but it might not be open, right? Like, and I haven't studied their defense, so I can't really tell you what they do 100%. But in most defenses, there are spots in the field that you're going to give up. You have to give up. You can't cover everything, right? But you have to find ways to trick the offense into thinking that something's open, and then that's when you attack. And so that's what I think a really good defense does. And so zone defenses are good. And you know, a lot of times a really good defense can make man and zone look exactly the same. And, you know, like I know that's something that we did when my time playing in Saskatchewan. And I think they are probably doing that now as well.
Is one harder than the other in the CFL? Zone or man defense?
No, because again, I think they should be the same thing. Like when people say zone, you play zone, you're as deep as the deepest man or as wide as the widest man. It doesn't mean that you're 10 yards away from the deepest man. You're right there covering the deepest man, right? So there should be somebody on every guy in a zone or man-to-man, right? It's just in man-to-man, you might have that you got that free guy over the top, and sometimes you got a free guy down low in man-to-man. But zone and man should be exactly the same.
I want to ask about Jeremy O'Day. He's the general manager of this team right now. You were teammates with him, won that Grey Cup in 2007 with him.
Yeah.
You were also teammates in 2009, and we know what happened there. Knowing Jeremy O'Day as you do you think this one would be personal for him now that they're up against Montreal in the Grey Cup again?
You know, I would hope it'd be personal for him. It's personal for me, man, and I'm not even playing the game right now. That 13th man game, that was a tough one to lose for all of us, because I mean we had the game, and again it was a situation where we knew we had Montreal, and it didn't happen, and it sucks that it came down to a situation the way it did. But I'm sure this game is personal for Jeremy, and I give them all the best of luck because I know those guys can go out there and do it.
What's something about Jo that a lot of fans may not know? Because he doesn't do a ton of media anymore. He's keeps a lot of his personal life to himself, which is fine. But what's something about Jo that maybe in the locker room that Eddie Davis noticed and had something on him?
All right, well, and this might be telling a little too much, but this is like for all the guys after the locker room, and especially near where the big old line sat after every game. We knocked a few back right after the game, and so that's something that all the big guys did. But they were in control of the keg down there. So yeah, I guess that's something that a lot of people may or may not know.
All right, 2007 Grey Cup. After you guys win, what was one, the feeling that you had on the field, and then two, who was the first person you thought about?
The feeling I had on the field was just elation. It was like something that we've been working for in Saskatchewan for such a long time, and to finally get it, and to know that we really deserve being there and winning the game. It was, I don't know, it was like elation. The first person I looked for, so my dad and my wife were in the stands, and so those are the first two people that I looked for and thought about, and I just felt it was a good opportunity. I felt like a real special feeling that my dad was there to see me play, because he hadn't been up to a bunch of games in Saskatchewan, but that Grey Cup he was definitely there. My wife was there, so that was an amazing feeling after the game.
What was the party like for Eddie Davis after the game? Do you remember it?
I do remember it, and it wasn't really a party, man. We stayed in the locker room, I don't know, for like an hour and a half after the game, drinking champagne and just having a good time. And then after that, I think they had food for us. So it was, I mean, you're tired after the game, man. I'm not even gonna lie. If you're not, something's wrong with you. But yeah, so we didn't do much. We just kind of, after we left the locker room, went and had that team function, and then it was a good night's sleep.
The Grey Cup week itself, how much more difficult? Players will say it's just another game. You know, you got to go 1-0 this week. That's all we're focused on, right? But how much more difficult is it to prepare for that game versus any other game throughout the season?
I think for any professional, you prepare the right way, whether it's game one or whether it's the Grey Cup, right? And so for me, and especially being a leader on that '07 and '09 team, um, I just talked to the guys during that week, and I'm like, look, man, like we're here for a reason. There's gonna be a lot of distractions, lots of things that can throw you off of your game, but you need to stay focused. We need to come out here and practice like we're gonna play, meaning that still during that week, I want to be balls to the wall, and we're going out here, we're going hard during practice because I don't want anything to fall off. Like a lot of times throughout the season, especially teams that get biased, like for me, like I played in Calgary for a long time, and we had a few buys there, and you kind of get complacent during those buys. But if you continue to play each week and you continue to prepare, you stay prepared when it's your time to step up. And I think that's what we did, especially in '07. Guys were focused. We were ready to play. And the big thing for us that year, having Ken Austin, a guy who had actually been there before, talking to us and giving that feeling of emotion to all the other guys, it was a special feeling, man. And so, that I was one of those guys that had been there previously as well with Calgary, and we just let everybody know we need to stay focused, stay prepared, and we'll be ready to play. And we came out awesome that day.
I talked to Riders legend Jeff Fairholm this week, receiver. You probably lined up against him back in your early days in Birmingham and then maybe with Calgary. Asked him this question, and he said it was the time from warm-ups to kickoff of the game. So I'll ask you the question. What's the hardest thing about being a player in the Grey Cup game? He said it was getting ready for warm-ups and then just the time off before you go out and play.
Yeah, I would have to say the same. The thing for me was waiting to get that first hit. And you know what, you got that nervous jitters, and I don't care who you are, like nobody is going out there feeling not nervous, right? Like up until the last game I played in that 13th man game, I was nervous, and I was 15 years in the game, right? So you know what, you go out there, you have that nervous feeling, but once you go out there and get that first hit, you can kind of settle down and level off, and then that's when you're really ready to play. But so I think that's probably the roughest time before any Grey Cup game is just that time before, when you, like you say, you warm up and then you're going into kickoff and getting that first hit.
It's been a while since I've interviewed you. I'm glad you mentioned Roy Shivers earlier because he was inducted into the Riders Plaza of Honor last year. He's into the Canadian Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame as well now too. Being so close to him as you were in your CFL career, what does hearing that kind of mean to you?
Honestly, it's well deserved. Like Roy should have been in the Hall of Fame and the Riders Plaza of Honor like years ago. If you look at his body of work and you talk about the guys that he has in the Hall of Fame that were on teams that he did, let's start off with Birmingham. It was myself, Matt Dunnigan, Freddie Childress, and Kelvin Anderson was actually down there in Birmingham as well. Then you go to Calgary, you got Alan Pitts, you got guys like Freddie Childress, myself, like a bunch of different guys that Roy has either brought into this league or are kind of influenced on every team that he was on. I mean, you can't deny that, right? Roy's my guy. It's probably been maybe about a month or so since I've talked to Roy, but I call him all the time, talk to him all the time, and he was like a second father to me up here in the CFL, man. So for him he was my general manager for what, 12, 13 years in my career. So I've got a deep love in my heart for Roy Shivers, and it was, like I said, very well deserved of where he is, because Roy has put a huge stamp on not just the Riders, but the CFL as well. And the stadium and all the things that you see in Saskatchewan, he laid the foundation. And I was glad to have been a part of that foundation with him. I can't say how much that I respect and love Roy Shivers. Honestly, man, just like a father.
Well, Riders, Montreal, you said you're feeling it's a little bit personal for you too with this one. Will there be sort of a little bit of vindication if the Riders pull this one out on Sunday?
It'd be a lot of vindication if they pull this one off, because we should have won back in 09. You know, and you know what, that was a tough one for me, especially when I retired, because I was thinking about, let's do it one more year. Let's just get back to another year. And then they go back in 2010 playing against the same team and came up a little bit short during that time frame too. So right now, I wish the Riders the best of luck. I know Corey Mace will make the right decisions when he has to. I know all the players on the Riders team will make the plays when it's their time to make the plays. And let's go, Rider Nation. I'm ready.
Eddie, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Thank you for being such a big supporter and fan of the CFL and myself personally.